dream you wanted to fulfill when you grew up? With Kickstarter, you can contribute to making the Airhead comic series dream a reality. Hi, I'm Indy, a freelance cartoonist. I'm the artist and writer of Airhead, a sci-fi comedy comic series about Air, a teen surfer and lifeguard that sees the future in his dreams. One night, he predicts a solar flare will wipe out the city of New San Diego and possibly Earth. Can he save everyone in time? I'm almost out of issue number 1, so I want to reprint 200 more of these supersized, 52-page, full-color, perfect-bound issues. I want to get copies into comic stores and beyond. I also want to fund the creation and printing of issue number 2, which is 25 pages. I want to print 100 full-color copies. Not to give away too much, but this issue features surfers in space! I've put countless hours into writing, storyboarding, and drawing issue 2. I only have a few more pages to draw. Funding will help me build my creative team so I can complete the creation of issue 2. My letterer, Clay Adams, did such an amazing job lettering issue number 1, and I need to pay him well. I also need to hire a coloring assistant to speed up the process. I need funds to print high-quality books that I can be proud of. Kickstarter puts the fun in funds. This platform allows me to raise money in an exciting way, and some people have discovered Airhead just through Kickstarter, including some of my biggest fans. I successfully funded and fulfilled a Kickstarter for Airhead number 1, and I'm confident that I can reach a higher goal this time. Some cool rewards I have planned are printing custom Airhead bandanas, just like the one Air wears in the series. Now you too can be an Airhead. I also have real watercolor studies I've done at Rockaway Beach as a reward. Airhead features real painted watercolors for waves and more in the backgrounds. When this project is fully funded, first I'll finish drawing and inking and then send my art files to my coloring assistant. While they're working, I'll reprint issue 1. Once all the coloring for number 2 is complete, I'll send the files to my letterer, and then we'll print books for number 2 in the spring of 2023. Why do we need to wait that long until the project is complete? That's a good question. Well, it's totally normal for a Kickstarter to finish fulfillment some months away. It's just part of the creative process. Thanks for watching. Please check out my rewards and select one to support this Kickstarter. Thank you so much, and I look forward to bringing Airhead number 1 and 2 to you.
If I die tomorrow, I hope you hear these words. I ain't here to flip no birds or sip no syrup. Hope the future generations can get this urge. Stay woke, youngin', and avenge these nerds.
What's up, guys? It's Tuesday.
Hola. Hi.
Hey.
So that was a quick shout out to Mindy Indy, who is again has a Kickstarter that's out that you guys saw the commercial for. Help her get her Kickstarter funded. It's almost got 6 more days left. The link is in the description. But yeah, we have a great show, and it's looking a little different in this dais right here. I mean, this is your boy Sebastian.
It's your boy Law.
And this is, of course, the Mighty Pong.
I was gonna say Pong. I was gonna say Tone. Your chops are looking very Pongish today.
They are. I know. I got a new voice thingy too, so it's
nice.
Pretty cool. Yeah.
Wait, no. Pong is a scroll, so he shapeshifts sometimes into Tony every once in a while.
Yeah.
And the one and the only.
Of course, you guys already know Vmac. Hi, guys.
Let's get it.
Yeah, what's up, guys? So again, it's Tuesday night. We're here. We're hanging out. We miss you, Tone. Have fun in California. We'll see Tony next week, guys. He's out there. He's out there for work, so he will be back with us next week. And Pong is going to fill in for him and show us why he is mighty. So you guys ready for some announcements? How was your week?
So far, so good. I'm trying to get over this whatever cold or whatever this is soon.
Yeah, it's I feel like it's going around because first it was me, then now it's you, Law. It's like
Don't do that because then you're not jinxing me this way. Don't bring it over here. No.
I'm like 2,000 miles away.
Don't do that.
I wasn't even supposed to have all this. Like, this is gross.
We're repelling it all. Positive vibes only.
You know what knocks out sickness? Announcements.
In the words of Tone, I hate it here.
I saw it coming. Like I saw it coming.
I was originally worst transition ever.
I was originally
not ever. I take it back.
Listen, I'm going for the worst transition on the internet. So if I can get that reward, I will take it and wear that badge with honor.
Don't know why, but sure. Okay.
Like the three of us are just looking at you like, why though? Like
I don't understand.
Someone has to do it.
No
one has to do it. Do you understand the concept of? Never mind. You know what? Go back to your announcements.
Okay, I'll go back to my announcements. I was going to say Coquito too, but I don't. I just saw it. I saw the writing on the wall. But anyway. Check out Concrete Combat, Patreon at Bonet Studios, patreon.com, Bonet Studios. Concrete Combat, Chapter 2, Part 1 is coming out. Sent the pages to George the letter. Also on there, too, is a little bit of an adult comic that you guys can enjoy. My little character that I'm having fun with on there. Next on the list is that make sure you guys are following Law's Switch channel. Law will be giving you guys updates on if there's any time changes, because again, congratulations on what's going on with Law with the new gig and everything. But the time changes will be announced.
Soon. I'll probably do it on Thursday, but it looks like I'm going to be dropping Wednesday completely and just doing Sundays and Thursdays for now. But we're beginning playing a bunch of games. I have a bunch of games on the list, and there's going to be lots of content coming soon. So stay tuned.
Oh, yeah. So stay tuned for that, guys. Make sure you're following him to get those updates. Next on the list is We Suck at Comics. The Kickstarter is fully funded. It is met over its goal. Yes. So Concrete Combat will be featured as one of the comics in this anthology. Where are we? At 6,100. 6,100 funded. I'm like, that's over. It's beautiful. So I want to thank the guys over there at Wayward Raven. All the guys that got together. Mindy is actually one of the creators in the book as well. So definitely check it out, guys. If you have not pledged already, again, the link is in the description. Check out the Medusa's Cascade podcast. Every Saturday, this D&D podcast continues to launch. There's more cool stuff that's coming out too that the DM has already structured and put into place to get you guys more into the lore. So those who have not learned or listened to the show from the beginning, there's stuff that's coming up that's going to get you guys up to date with what's going on. Some great stuff to give you the world building that has been done. So there's a lot of great movement going around in the background. You can go to listen to the podcast, or you could go to Inbeon.com for the Medusa's Cascade, see some of the great artwork that's there to be introduced to some of the great characters. Lou Cyphs' album is out. The link is in the description. The Motive, make sure you guys are checking it out. It's rap for grown folk. That's what we call it. Lou Cyphs, the album, The Motive, is a great album. Listen to it a bunch of times in the car. You guys definitely want to have him on your Spotify list or wherever you listen to music. Check it out. And then finally, make sure you guys are tuning in to Catch the Craze, 8 p.m. every Wednesday. That is our brothers who are doing their podcasts over there every Wednesdays. They are doing their great things for Indy. So if you want to learn more about indie comics, they are definitely doing their job of covering definitely with the indies and all that, showing the love out there. And it's always fun watching Sam and George just riff off each other and everything, the chemistry and all that. But that is it for announcements. How did I do, guys?
I mean, you're missing one.
Missing one? Go ahead, Pong. Go ahead, Pong. Go ahead, Pong.
As a matter of fact,
go ahead, Pong.
If you like dealing with technical things, but you don't like dealing with technical people, let me just suggest a show for you. Every Monday and Friday nights at 7:30 p.m. Pacific time, you too can be one of those people right here at twitch.tv/SinShop. That's SinShop with a Y in it, and it's exactly where you think.
I love
All right, Madison. I love it.
Was Madison not the crown jewel of She-Hulk?
No, she was the crown jewel.
Crown jewel? I don't know, but she's definitely what Wong needed.
Yeah.
Wongers
you know what?
That.
Yeah.
Wongers. He needs some
Wongers
medicine.
did need that. That's absolutely, yeah. I'm on board with that.
Oh man, She-Hulk. Without further ado, we have a great guest that's coming on. We have two great guests in the background with Pong with his popcorn. So you guys have definitely seen this.
Pong,
guest.
is that the same bag, or are you just buying like caseloads of these like popcorn bags?
Yeah, please.
I'm not on the show that much. This is show popcorn.
Okay.
The same bag. It's the same bag.
It is the same bag. Yeah, it's the
Same
same
bag.
bag.
Okay.
Oh man, we
I
got
got the clip on it. It's good.
It works. It's still
I
fresh.
just,
as long as
I just want to know, because like I feel like there's always a popcorn bag, and I'm like, do you just open it on the show, eat it off camera, and then like have one prepared the next time you're on here?
he eats one. He
No.
eats one popcorn per episode. He grabs one and closes the bag.
It depends on how spicy the conversation is. If it's really spicy, I mean, I was on. What was I doing? I was doing another show at some point, but I was just handfuls.
Oh,
Oh, it was a business. It was a work meeting. Somebody was fighting, and I was just like,
oh, it was a work meeting.
I mean, I like the energy that you just like, bet, like, let's go.
Yeah,
well,
let's do this. All right.
speaking of hot and spicy, he's always hot and spicy in the comments, and he is on here
yeah.
today to talk with us about Star Wars. We want to give it up for the one, the only, Rick.
Hello! Hej! Hvordan har I det alle sammen? Går det godt?
Hey, Rick. I see you
What's
got,
going
yo,
on?
I love that background right there, man. That
Åh ja,
background-
ja. Det tog mig 2 sekunder at lave den. Det var kun for dig, selvfølgelig.
Oh, yeah, I remember, that time
Wait,
that we
what?
were talking about Coquito and everything.
Ja, selvfølgelig, og så skulle jeg selvfølgelig lave den. Det er jo perfekt.
Listen, I told you about that whole thing about Harry Potter versus Doctor Strange. We already know that Harry Potter's going to win.
Ja, det er rigtigt, det er rigtigt, det er rigtigt. Men vi er her for Star Wars. Andor.
Okay.
Okay,
no,
okay,
I
okay,
don't know what is going on right now?
I'll let Rick do it.
No, I was like, well, when I get in, let me talk some Danish. Let's see how people react. And well, you reacted exactly how me and Sebastian predicted.
Oh, okay.
Law reacted as well. He went mute. He just went mute and shook his head. So it had to. Hey, the chance was there. It had to be done, right, guys?
Listen, I was always taught that if you have nothing nice to say, don't say it. But
Yeah, I was taught that too, but I didn't learn that lesson.
but my face was terrible.
Oh,
at
your
doing the
face.
same.
Yeah, your face were not listening in on that.
Absolutely not. Absolutely not.
This
My
whole-
face snitches on me all the time.
See, this whole thing brewed because I was talking to Rick earlier. We were talking about Coquito, so I was letting him learn about teaching about Coquito, the Puerto Rican eggnog, and then he was like, you know what, it'll be cool if I talk Danish and all that, and then you come back and you act like I was like, that's gonna be fun.
That's
It
fine.
worked.
That was
Okay.
Danish.
Yeah.
Pong's like, oh, like he knows the language.
No, I definitely. I can't even
I
believe
just-
that one.
I just had rant, and see, this is the chaos that we have on
George,
with
I
us.
wish I could tell you what was going on right now. I promise. I wish I could tell you. You just
Hey.
have to kind of just join in and understand that Rick is on the show, being Rick.
I always bring chaos in the comments, so of course I had to bring chaos when I'm finally invited, right?
It was, but speaking of chaos, we have a great gentleman that's coming on right now. He has a Kickstarter that is
That's right,
coming
Aurelius.
up. Yes,
Always
sorry.
addressing it.
Listen, Val's the anchor of the group right now. She pulls us back in. But yeah,
I feel like it's Val tries, and it's a toss up to see what happens.
Yeah.
I know. I'm sorry, not sorry. But anyway, he is coming off hot because he's been on the show before. He's had some amazing Kickstarters that have come out, from the Satanic Coloring Book to Lords of the Cosmos. Lords of the Cosmos #5 is coming out on Kickstarter. The link is in the description. Again, you guys can go ahead, hit notifications, so when it launches, you can get the day one rewards when this Kickstarter launches. It's always having him great on the show. We want to give it up for the one, the only Jason Lenox. Jason.
Yay!
Yes.
Welcome.
Round of applause.
Welcome back. Welcome back.
Yeah, so all this talk about Star Wars, and I can't stop staring at the mighty Pong, and he reminds me of one of the characters from Battle Beyond the Stars, which I'm a
get
huge
that a
fan of, and I'm just like, I can't remember the character's name, but I'm just getting those Battle Beyond the Stars vibes, and I can't stop staring, and I love it.
I can't stop staring at Pong either, so
Yeah,
Okay.
that happens. It happens. Just take a good look, and then then eventually you'll be able to come back to normal. It happens all the time. Totally normal.
It's gonna be a Pong staring contest today.
Love it.
Everybody look at Pong. We love you, Pong. You know that. That's so Pong is filling in for Tony, guys. That's to let you know. George, Pong is filling in for Tony. Tony will be back next week, but we always love having guests and everything. And thank you for filling in for me too. But Jason, I want you to let everybody know your new Kickstarter is coming out. You have issue number 5 now that's launching on Kickstarter. So go ahead, plug away, and then we'll deep dive into the conversation. So go ahead. I'm going to give you the solo screen. Plug away. The new Kickstarter come out.
So Lords of the Cosmos 5 picks up right after Lords of the Cosmos 4 with the main story, and it's got 2 really cool side stories in it. So it's going to be another 44-page book. I've been out of the Lords of the Cosmos universe for about 1.5 years, slaving away on an on-time fulfillment for the Satanic Coloring book, which was my biggest Kickstarter / Indiegogo to date. It raised a little bit under $18,000 for about 400 and some people. So I'm just trying to get back into the groove. It's more talking animals, robots, cyborgs, magic, samurai, and the 1980s craziness that you've all come to expect from Lords of the Cosmos. So one of the things that I'm doing with the pre-launch cycle is every time I get to another multiple of 25 people, I'm putting out more pages from the book. So the last I saw, I was at 98 pre-launch followers. So when I get to 100, I'm going to put 3 more pages out for everybody to check out, 1 page from each of the stories. And it's been fun. For the last couple of weeks, I've been getting back into doing the art for the main story. I was away for an extended period of time, just working on Kickstarter fulfillment for like about the last 6 months, which seems like it was all I was doing every day, was just shoving coloring books into envelopes and shipping them all over the world. So, again, if you've heard me on this show before or picked up one of my books, or you've never heard about it, if you like things like Masters of the Universe, Silverhawks, Thundar the Barbarian, that's the general theme of the book. Its format is a black and white anthology like 2000 AD. And I will say the editorial stance is like Warhammer 40K, kind of like a very complicated, dark future with almost an anything goes mentality. So yeah, that's pretty much Lords of the Cosmos in a nutshell. The first 4 issues combined are about 180 total pages. They're big books. So 5 is going to be another one in the series. So that's what I got to say for that, Nerds of the Round. So I hope some of the fans check it out. Get signed up for the pre-launch. We'll have a big day one. We'll have some special stuff for backers. I'm hoping to get it out towards the end of the first quarter of 2023. That's my plan.
And those who don't know Jason, if you guys go back, watch some of our episodes on demand, we did a great creative series with Jason. He pretty much laid it all out. We have fun. Jason has been on the show multiple times. So again, check it out. Sign up for the Kickstarter. It's going to launch. And again, great artwork, great inking on there. It's beautiful. And like you said, if you're a fan of all that 80s sci-fi and everything right there, it definitely hits home with that. So Jason, we want to welcome you back. We want to wish you luck on this Kickstarter. So getting into sci-fi.
Yeah.
Well, the comments are talking about the show ahead of us, but
yeah, the comments are on it today. Y'all been like at it.
We're talking. So if you don't know, I guess the team does know, but
Also,
definitely
Pong,
talking Andor today.
Pong,
And
you might be
Pong, we
requested.
can definitely your
you want
services
to.
have been requested.
Listen, he's taking over for Tone, so
There you go, Pong.
okay.
There you
Oh,
go. Wait.
Pong is fine.
Hold up.
Spell it right. Spell it right.
He's got to put a flyer for you. He's got to
A
put
banner.
There we go.
banner. There it is.
All right, we good?
Yeah,
All right,
we're
here
good.
we go. Takawatu is a separatist. Julian Dreyfus, a neo-Republican. James Ankleson, Seth Green, Donna Reese,
what?
sectorists. Taco Watu, galaxy partitionists. They're lost. All of them lost. Lost. I am the only one with quality of spoilers. Are you serious? Are you telling me that was not a halfway decent Saw Gerrera? Are you serious?
No,
No, it was the Saw Gerrera with all of Seabass mispronunciations.
Oh my god, it was so
That
good.
was so
I
funny.
loved it. It was wow. That was
It took me like a few
Jason's
seconds to
completely
realize what was
confused.
happening, and I was like, no, he's not doing it. Oh
Look at
my
Jason's
god, that was
face is so
amazing.
I don't even know how to feel now. I feel
Like
confused.
the first.
Essentially, you got
We
to
have a running list.
Yeah.
Pong has a running list of everything that Seabass pronounces wrong or says wrong, and so he literally just said everything that Seabass says wrong in Saw Gerrera's voice.
About 70%.
That was
It's
beautiful.
amazing.
That was beautiful.
I left
Beautiful.
out Sasha Kahorin for Sasha Baron Cohen. I don't remember. Did I get Juggernaut?
I know.
I don't know.
Juggernaut.
Oh, you did now. It was great.
I got no clue what's going on.
That's going on the highlight reel right there. That
There you
was
go.
So remember how you were saying like our face was like, what the hell's going on? That's you guys right now. That's you guys.
Yeah.
Right now.
Yeah,
What the fuck is happening?
So
I mean, I could hear the Saw Gerrera impression, but all the other thing was like, okay.
What is the name?
Yeah.
I
That
love
was
it.
that
I
was
love
very special for those who have been
Haiko
like,
Waku.
oh my
So yes, Pong has a list of all the names I have mispronounced on the show. He has kept the record. He is continuing it. Yeah,
I think
Juggernaut.
I really
Yeah.
did. I did.
Did you say
I meant
Oh,
like
God.
my
you're
brain
still
said,
here.
my brain said Juggernaut, but my mouth said Juggernaut. It went lazy.
Juggernaut.
Yeah.
Well, if we're gonna get teased about not speaking correctly, as you can hear, I got a heavy accent, so this is gonna be fun.
Thank you, Emperor.
Thank you. Oh
Hey,
man.
the people requested a spoiler alert, and
Yeah,
I
and you
like to
did
think I
it. You delivered.
There you go.
So Rick, you definitely been the resident Star Wars fan in the comments, going and keeping us on point with it.
You
So
think? You think?
I don't know.
I've tried to hold back.
You come on. No, so what are your thoughts
How's that
about
going?
this? So what have been your thoughts about Andor, the show, and everything? So give us your feedback. Come on, Rick.
Well, the overall, my overall bill, I love it. I think personally, it's giving people what they want, what they've been pleading for and asked for, but maybe not how. Now that they got it, that's not how they expected to get it. They wanted more Star Wars outside of the Jedi's and the Mandalorians. They want more Star Wars because the universe was so big. Now they have it. Some people are complaining about, but it's not like how we wanted it to. No, but you get it. We see a difference. We see a more direct side of the Empire, which I absolutely love. Like how actually sinister and vile they actually are according to story. And we are getting to see something that we've been wanting to see since we saw the first Star Wars movie, which is the actual beginning of the rebellion. So all that is just yes, please give me more. I mean, sure. The episodes are a bit slow. Could be more action, of course, but it's nice. It's a nice pace overall, and there's some holy. Can we say shit on this?
Yeah.
Okay,
Go.
good. Holy shit moments is good.
Yeah, there are some holy shit moments.
There are.
It is drawing out, yes, for people that want the action all the time, because that's what they're used to with the Kenobi, with the Mandalorian. But this is completely different. And when you get over that hurdle and start understanding, okay, this is not your typical Star Wars Disney thing. This is completely different. You get to see all the details, the intricacies, and everything that this show has. That's top notch, in my opinion. It's the best Disney Star Wars show that's been made.
Better than Mandalorian?
Absolutely.
Ooh.
Yeah.
Ooh.
That's
Oh,
a bold statement.
Yeah, well, come at me. It's okay. I
don't know about. I mean, this is very good. I'm enjoying it so far. I think it picked up at episode 6. It's a good story. It's building well. However, I don't know about better than the first season of Mandalorian.
I mean, I got my reservations, but I want to get Jason, because we were speaking about it earlier too. Jason, what are your thoughts on so far from what you've seen from the show and everything, and just your take with the whole Star Wars? Because again, you have been dipping into sci-fi. So give us your take.
So I'm of a certain age where like I've at this point, Star Wars is kind of like the sibling that I don't have because I grew up with it. So I don't want to say how old I am, but like I grew up along with it. So I was there
80.
as a very small kid, and I gotta give you this back run that kind of even makes sense because for Sebastian, I tried to even watch this show today. I love Star Wars. I was in that group of kids that grew up with it. I had the Empire Strikes Back, comforter. I remember having all those things as a kid, and then in '83 it ended, and I was 8. And you can do the math to figure out how old I am, but and then it was that long period of like no Star Wars, and I remember Clerks resonated with me in college because they made fun of Star Wars, and it was like, wow, Star Wars got a mention. And then I was there for all the prequels, and I was excited out of my mind. And then I was like, these films aren't that good, but I wanted to like them because we were starved for Star Wars, and it was weird. I can tell you that when one of my favorite Star Wars moments in that kind of dead period was the Dark Empire from Dark Horse. That was awesome. It came out in '92. And to me, that was so cool because, as a kid, you were like, what happens after Jedi? So when Force Awakens came out, I was jacked. I was like, I really, really want to see this because, for all these years, I'd been like, well, what happens after Jedi? I will tell you personally, it was probably the most disappointing experience I ever had as a film goer. I walked out of the movie theater angry because it seemed to me just to be a complete rehash of the first film. And people were just like, it's something I know. And I was so disappointed with it. And then I've dipped into like, some of the films like Solo. I watched half of the 8th movie, Last Jedi, and I just stopped watching it. I watched Rogue One, which I thought was okay. And I've kind of gotten out of it. So for this show, I was like, well, I'll give it a shot. I'll watch some of the Andor just to see what's going on. And I'll be honest, I was bored. But I did watch 2 episodes of it today just to get freshed up for the show. And it's weird because now I'm just kind of like, there would have been a time I would have been all into this show, but kind of my 2 cents on it is, and then, Rick will tell me, maybe that I'm wrong. Right. But it's like those first couple films have such strong everything, great music, great design, that they are like cultural touchstones.
Are you referring to the original first 2?
The first 3 films from like
trilogy?
the 70s.
Okay.
The original trilogy, yeah.
To me, I view those movies more like The Wizard of Oz because they're now cultural touchstones. Like if you said "May the Force be with you," most people just know what it is. Like it would be like if you said "Somewhere Over the Rainbow," and it's weird to me because I just kind of feel like tired of it. Like and I wish they could have gone in the future with the stories because it just seems weird to me now because I know for some fans they want to know like, well, how did the rebellion start? I'm just kind of like, it never really concerned me that much. So I'm just kind of watching Andor and I was like, it was hard for me to pay attention. And I just was like, I'm not feeling it. And maybe there's better stuff the more I went on, but I just was kind of like, I've always been curious where the story is going to go. And it seems like Star Wars is kind of stuck in this cycle of like, kind of like retreading it because I'm like, wait, so Andor was the character in Rogue One. So I'm like, this is now a prequel of a prequel. And I'm like, we're going backwards. We're not going forwards. And I almost feel like Disney, I don't know, man. I didn't even watch the 9th film. I was so bummed out by the 8th film. I'm like, it's like, where is it going? So, I mean, that's me. And I'm maybe more of the cynical, washed out fan. So maybe I'm more of a downer. Like, so.
Oh, no.
I mean, that's kind of my take on it.
I mean, Andor is not for the Star Wars watchers who wants the instant gratification, right? Because it takes almost 4 episodes to get really good.
Yeah.
Other than that, it's really drawn out and a little. I mean, for us bigger nerds, we see like there's a ton of Easter eggs already starting from episode 1 that we can get excited about. But I can see that the more casual, and I say casual in the good way, more casual viewers won't find episode 1 through 3 that entertaining and might easily jump off there before it even gets started proper. What I would advise you to, Lenox, is fight it until you get to episode 5. Fight it
So
until
guys,
episode 5. Yeah.
Yeah,
Go until my spoiler.
Have it in
what?
have it in the back. Have it in the back. Have it in the background, and then
I mean,
when episode 5 and 6 comes,
I will say,
Give
as
it
someone
exist.
who wasn't a huge fan of Rogue One, as much as most people love it, it just wasn't for me, because again, it was something that like felt like a movie that I didn't really need, because we knew what was leading
Right,
to,
you know where it's going.
more or less. So with this, I was like, I was not excited. I will still say that's less of like I'm not excited. I'm enjoying the show, but it's definitely not something I would have watched week by week.
yeah,
Watching it in one sitting. I've literally watched most of like every episode up until like today, like a couple minutes ago. Throughout, it's one of those shows you have to watch consistently versus taking them in chunks, because especially the first 3 to 5 episodes are those episodes that give you a lot of context, a lot of lore, world building, and it's world building outside of the stuff that we already know. It's stuff that we have a sense of, but they're really going in depth with letting us know how this rebellion's being started, what the empire is really like on the side of the people who are living there and living in all these other places that aren't Tatooine for once, you know? So I get it. Like, I understand where you were like, after 2 episodes, I'm not here for it.
yeah.
As someone who's like, who would be on that boat, stick a little bit with it, a little bit more. And then a little bit more, and then see where it is. Even if you get to like episode 4 or 5, and you're just like, all right, I'm checked out.
No, you have to watch episode 6.
Episode
Yeah,
6,
yeah.
Don't give up.
Completely agree. Well,
No, it gets really good 4, 5, and episode 6 takes it another level.
Right.
Starts
But
to slow down a little bit, but it adds to it kind of. So yeah.
once he I feel like once he gets to the
4 and
plan,
5?
once he gets to like 4 and 5, when he's starting to get to with the crew and they're starting to plan the heist, that's where you're kind of like in it or you're out.
Yeah, exactly. I think if he gets to episode 6, he's already in it for the invested.
I'll tell you what's worked for me.
I have to come back like homework. It's like, okay, here, bring me back on. Like, did you? Yeah, I watched it all.
We'll bring you back on. No, I mean, I'm gonna be honest. Go ahead, Jason. Go ahead.
No, I'll just share this. And I'm a huge fan of The Expanse. I got into it while I was home during the pandemic, and that's a pretty hard show to wrap your head around. But I will say this: I know that some viewers were really turned off that I talked to about it, but it hooked me enough that even though it was almost incomprehensible for a few episodes, I was curious enough that I wanted to know more. Right, even when I was just the first few episodes of that are very confusing. And again, I didn't feel that with this show. I just kind of felt bored. So yeah, I'll watch a few more episodes. I'll report back.
I mean, I was definitely the same way, because again, like how Val said, episode 6 did pick it up for me. Episode 5 and 6, when they get to the high stuff, I had to actually separate that this was a Star Wars show and take it as a completely different show. That's how I kind of got through it. I was like, because I like the writing of the show. I like what they set up. I like the world building. For me, it kind of suffered in the beginning because they're putting the Star Wars name. I feel like if they actually took that script, removed the Star Wars name, removed the Star Wars element, it still would be a good show with the way how it's building up, especially like episode 9.
Do you think that hurts shows like this because it has a different set of expectations, that if this was just called something else, would it be
I think you hit the nail on the coffin when, like, because we have a lot of shows that have come out for Star Wars. Like, we're enjoying the content that's coming out, because like many years ago we didn't, like you said too, we didn't have this content coming out. We're getting a lot of it now, but it's like some of the stuff is that they are still exploring a lot of the prequel stuff. Like, like I was thinking about it, like the Obi-Wan show. I enjoyed the Obi-Wan show. That I love it? No, there were some things that I felt the consistency could, like the whole thing with meeting Leia. I think that they could have done that with they didn't need to do that on the show.
And don't chase children and try and make it look action.
Don't chase.
No, it just looks stupid.
Yeah, that was.
And I do. Go ahead, Hong.
Oh no, so I was gonna say I think I disagree with just about everybody here on a little bit. And definitely
not me. Go ahead. So I haven't spoken, not with me, but go ahead, Pong.
We're gonna give it to you, Val. We're gonna give it to you.
No. I'll wait, because I'm like, what? Go ahead.
Oh, okay. So me personally, this is my favorite Star Wars thing, either beyond Mando or right even with. And I'll tell you why. Because we're not on freaking Tatooine anymore.
Yeah.
I haven't heard I haven't heard Skywalker. I haven't heard Solo. I haven't heard a damn thing about. It's very tangentially related, even to the freaking Senate, right? She's in the Senate. Don't get me wrong, but still, like that's not like Palpatine. Oh, there's this weird guy called the Emperor. You know, like there's very little of that. So I think my take on it is this: they are trying to do. I think they're succeeding in doing with Star Wars what they do with Marvel. And by what they do with Marvel, I mean that you take some movies and they're a political thriller, like Civil War, right? Some of them are comedy, like Ant-Man, arguably like Guardians of the Galaxy, but that's just more daddy issues. But anyway, my feelings on Chris Pratt are clear. But,
nothing wrong with daddy issues.
Well, I mean,
God.
Depends on the daddy, I suppose. But at any rate,
who's your daddy?
They're trying to do for Star Wars what they did with Marvel, and I personally am a big fan of it. I have a lot of times Star Wars episodes have bored me, but this one, even though it is really politics heavy, I'm digging it, and especially with the time that we're in right now, what this is showing is how fascism actually comes in. This is showing us a street level view, because you don't go from, hey, everybody's hanging out and being groovy, and then the next day, hey, we're all the Empire and there's a big red flag with a weird symbol on it. You know, like this is showing how that takes hold, how that takes root, right? How they come to a city, and if you're not on board with them, you're in trouble, you know, and then they record your screams to use as torture devices. But yeah, so I don't necessarily agree that that Andor is near beer. It is I would say it's a look at the mechanics of how the Empire came to be, and that's one of the big things I love about it. Man, I love Saw Gerrera. I'll follow him into battle. Let's go.
I mean, one of the things I love the most is how we see during the heist episode itself. Spoiler alert, Lenox.
I'll forget about it. It's okay.
You actually see what's he called? He was called the Commandante, right? The leader of it. How lazy and how relaxed and nothing gonna happen with the Empire. Yep. It shows how lazy and greedy the Empire had become because there was no threats. And then all of a sudden, their biggest supply of income gets ripped off, and you see how fast they actually have to react, and how everything gets changed up, and how intense and how evil they suddenly show themselves to be. Like how basically hidden it was. It's subtle, but it's really good. And it's as you said, Pong, they're trying to do something similar as they did with Marvel, but the difference is Marvel is still Marvel. Marvel is still superheroes. Star Wars is still not just Jedi's. Star Wars can be everything. They can do everything and just put it in space. They can have so the options are big, and they're testing that with Andor, and I think they're succeeding it. And I also think it's one of the biggest reasons why they completely changed the approach of filming, like the cinematic. I can't say that word.
Cinematic.
Thank you. Cinematic. It's completely different than we've seen from Obi-Wan and the others, right? I mean, the first episode where we see it's almost. You also get like a cyberpunk feel of the planet, and the first episode there, it's like, oh, wait, this isn't Star Wars. It takes you a bit like, okay, it really works hard to tell you, hey, this is something completely different. Put away the Jedi's, put away the everything you know about Star Wars. This is a completely different place, and you're just gonna either join for the ride or just don't like it. And I mean it for the long run.
I mean, that's one of the things that definitely does establish is the visuals, that it's very different. Like you feel the grittiness of the different worlds. Again, glad it's not on Tatooine, because everyone's like, oh, we're gonna have a gritty planet. What's the gritty planet? Tatooine. Like, why are we still stuck in Tatooine?
Enough with the sand.
Yeah, it's but it's like you feel the different places and everything, especially when you see like the New Republic city. It's like it's a menacing huge city that they did with the visuals with that. So like a lot of the planet visuals that are different from what we've seen in a lot of the Star Wars lore that they've already put out there for the Mandalorian, which Mandalorians they did a great job in so far in carrying everything on its back because of the movies. The show and I like that you mentioned that, because I think I didn't think about that before. They might be experimenting with stuff with what they're looking to do for the future. But V, I gotta give you the mic because I know you gotta give your 2 cents, V. I know you've been holding back. Come on.
Okay. So I'm probably going to whatever. But anyway, here we go. So first of all, if we're comparing this to just the movies that we know of the Skywalker stories, and George Lucas is iteration of the first trilogy and the second trilogy, George Lucas sucked at dialogue and writing. I think what he created was a great idea of this universe. What Disney does very well, I think, is expanding on it. However, they lose the ball where they don't pull from the writing of it, the stories behind it. There's so much more that they can pull in the books. When they decided to not make it canon, that's where the mistakes happen, where you have a fan base who carried along, read all these books, and now you are changing so much about what people know over these years since the movies were released and what we built on in this universe. With that said, episode 7, I think, was the better of the most recent trilogy. The last 2 movies weren't great. We know this. They messed up the story quite a bit. But for a newer generation who don't know any better to correlate it with the first 2 trilogies, not really much very important to them. Their goal was to catch a new era, new age of children to get involved in this universe, and now they're expanding on that. I don't think this is intended to cater to what we want it to be. However, I don't think they're dropping the ball with these shows. The Mandalorian was a great show. I think what's his name, Favreau?
John Favreau.
John Favreau
is
John Favreau.
amazing at what he's doing in that. I think Boba Fett lacked quite a bit. Andor is doing great at building this other side of a story. I'm glad we're not getting Jedis or Siths.
Mhm.
I'm glad we're seeing more about this actual universe that exists and have built on. I've been reading the books. I've seen every animated show. I have seen it all, and I'm really enjoying this series much more than I enjoyed Boba Fett. And I think it adds more to, Boba. Sorry, Boba Fett. Whatever. I think it adds more to Rogue One. For me, was one of the better movies of the entire Star Wars movie line.
Thank you.
I do not think that it lacked in any way. Just okay, I would never agree with. I think it adds more to the story that we didn't get in any of the other trilogies, dialogue-wise, pacing-wise. It was just a very well-done movie. And not everyone won, which is great. So I think that was something that was good to show in this universe, especially when the bad guys actually win, and then what we see in Andor, his story of how he gets involved in the rebellion and the trickling of different things. Because obviously it's been going on for much longer than him just joining in. But no one's piecing it together other than this female who's like noticing this is part of a bigger piece. I think they've built up this show slowly but good story-wise. If you're paying attention to that, it doesn't come out of left field anywhere. It builds up the way it needs to show us the mindset of this character and what they can do with it. The heist episode was freaking amazing. They called The Eye, I believe it was called. This episode was, I thought, took the show to another level. The 2 as well, when he had to escape the planet, also kept it at a good pace. I don't think the beginning of this show was bad, especially when he was approached by the two people he killed. He had to go on a run, and then it became a little bit fast trying to figure out, how am I going to figure this out, get everybody out and still stay safe? They're going to be on my ass. It's the process of someone who just committed a crime, knowing you're fucked. What do you do? And we're following him in this process and seeing where it goes with him, and how he actually has to make a choice, and he's faced with these decisions. It builds on what we saw in Rogue One. This man who was ready to kill someone because it was for a bigger cause, right? I just think that what they're doing with the show is amazing so far for me. I think that I'm happy to not see anything when it comes to Jedi or anything about the Sith Lord or anything about that. I'm happy to see what normal people are experiencing living under Emperor rule, and why there is a rebellion in the first place.
Yep.
You know, and then when you're reading the books or watching the Rebels animated series or watching anything related to any of this universe, it pieces together well.
Exactly.
And I think we forget that.
I mean, you hit the nail on it. I think Andor, the same way as Rogue One did, brought a lot of the book readers in, way more than the other shows have done, and they do it so great, so awesome, and all in for it. They bring in new people, and the storytelling is also not what we have seen in Star Wars before. They take that from, like, let's say, I was reminded sometimes about the show called Suits. You remember that?
Oh yeah, Suits.
How intimate their dialogue sometimes gets as well, and how just a dialogue between two people could almost be half an hour long and still be interesting. I think they're trying to bring those kind of feelings into the show as well with Andor. Like, they're bringing new stuff in different ways, and I think it works. It's very intimate, and it's so. I think it's the difference that sets people a little off, because you come in and you're used to something, right?
And
Exactly.
I think that's why I had to separate it from the Star Wars universe and think about it as its own thing. Because for me, it's like, again, you have this pre-notion from what you're seeing with the shows and everything. You're like, okay, we're still talking about the past and all that, but it's like, there is a lot of great writing that has gone into the show with the dialogue, with the characters. Like, these are a lot of new characters that they are introducing into this world. There's a different lore that they are building that has nothing to do with the Jedi. I mean, those first 2 episodes was very establishing of that, and I think that's where it was like falling off for me. But when I start, getting down that rabbit hole, and this is just me personally watching the show, it does progress even more. Like, even when you get to the last 2 episodes that are out right now, I love the concept that they created with the prison. Like, I thought that was a really great concept. It's like, they don't need weapons. Why? Because, the Force going to shock the shit out of you. And I was like, yo, that is just fucking fantastic.
Here's the thing that also I thought was because we don't think about, what does all this fighting amongst the big people do to the little people? Right? And how the laws changed instantly. She said, damn, it would have given you 6 months. Now you got 6 years for doing nothing, bro. He did nothing. Like,
walked.
Like, if we're putting this into context with Marvel, like, we've been asking for so long to give us a story about, like, the outside of the big heroes, big, like, whatever story. Like, we don't care about anybody big, any big, like, whatever. We just want to know what the hell is going on because of the blip, because of this, because of that. Like, what are people's reactions to this? This, for Star Wars, has given us that insight. And I actually found myself enjoying this way more than I thought I would.
I was kind of afraid for a second, like, because about, I don't know, 5 years or so ago, I became aware of damage control, right? Yeah, actually, it's more than that. Jeez. I became aware of the damage.
That's an old book.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, okay. I'm old. But anyway, I became aware of it.
Oh, you didn't know, Pong?
That was back in St. Louis. Okay, so 10 years ago, I became aware of damage control, and I was like, oh man, that's a great concept, because I've always wondered about that. I think it was sometime after the Superman movie where he destroyed New York in order to save it. But anyway, so I got interested in damage control because I was like, what is happening outside of the superheroes' direct influence? And I started reading it, and it was boring. And so I was like, so as I see like damage control start to come into the Marvel Cinematic Universe, at first I was like, oh, but I remember the comic books. And so now seeing this, right, to your point, it's showing me how you can do something that's damage control-ish, but like show basically what the street level looks like and still be entertaining.
Yeah, no, I agree with that because you're able to see. That's one of the things I think makes this show different from what we know in this universe. It's just important for. I don't think separating it from the Star Wars is necessary.
No.
Right? Because I think that it just gives us a different perspective of what's going on in this time frame.
Yep.
And I would love to see more of the older stuff. I know we're tired of seeing because we know where it goes, but they already messed up where it goes with the last movies. Episode 7 and 8 was horrendous.
Let's not.
Right. And if we look at right,
enough.
If you see the content that we've gotten from even from the animated shows, the Clone Wars, the Bad Batch, Rebels, these are all good stories if you don't incorporate the books. And we can go backwards and add more content to what generations of what that's gone through in this world, in this universe. I just think that this is giving us, even though it's a low-level person, he's not no one big, he's just a small piece in the chessboard, right? However, he makes ripples that leads to Rogue One.
Yep.
And it's already been proven because just the character building of all the characters involved, you get in. It's not just Andor you get involved in, like in
Mon Mothma, yeah.
Mon Mothma, Lucen Rail, yeah, and the last guy, Cyril Khan, like the guy who was chasing Andor in the first episode and then got fired.
He's going to be much bigger than we know.
Absolutely. I mean, that's what I think Kenobi failed at immensely, was the character building. I didn't really feel for any of the characters.
Because we already had characters we knew. While this is giving us more of that.
I think when they were making Kenobi, they started out with, okay, how do we get him to where he says hello there?
Yeah, exactly.
Hello there.
Okay, now how do we get to there?
How many episodes can we go along without him saying hello there, without the fans complaining?
So I just have a question for Jason. I'm not sure if we're gonna make you want to continue watching this or hate this show, but what are your thoughts so far right now from what we've been saying?
Well, I'm gonna roll it back because to me, what Star Wars is the Northern California filmmaking with Francis Ford Coppola, and George Lucas, right? So to me, those guys were trying to get away from Los Angeles and Hollywood. So there's a bunch of films from the 70s, the Godfather films, Apocalypse Now, American Graffiti, and Star Wars. So, I mean, that's where the roots for these films are from, was a counterculture, independent films that became big. And so to me, I enjoy a lot of those films just as cinema, right? And if I go back and I think about the original films, they're really fairy tales and they're kind of simplistic. And I think what's interesting is, for me, like, I kind of appreciate them as kind of a fairy tale. I do think there's a ton of fans, right, where they want to know like a lot of this minutia. And I think where I kind of scratch my head is like I'm just kind of like, I don't know that if I'm curious enough to know like who's the financial backer for the rebellion. Like, it's, I mean, where I'm just kind of like, they were just kind of the good guys in a fairy tale. And here's the thing. It isn't like, oh, you shouldn't be into that. Cause I think tons of people have been into tons of this stuff for a long time. But I'm still kind of like, I just kind of like the fairy tale adventure, and the Emperor's kind of like, the big bad or whatever. And I think, this is like, how can we take all this stuff and flesh it out? And obviously there's a lot of people that do like it, they're making shows and everything else. I guess from a storytelling standpoint, I'm just kind of like,
happy with what you get, with what you have, so to say.
So I guess to me, I'm just kind of puzzled because I still see it as like a Northern California independent film series that like it struck gold and went beyond what Francis and
build
George
more of a
never thought their films
following
would
there.
do.
Right. I don't think George really anticipated how far out the
Nobody
story
did.
would be, right? And it's grown since then quite a bit.
Well, one
That
thing
doesn't
that you
change-
said, V, that was funny. I'm sorry, I got to tell you this
Oh, he
because it's
sucked
cool.
at dialogue,
is that,
yeah.
Well, the dialogue, like I didn't realize this till a couple years ago that George's wife in the 70s punched up a lot of the dialogue in those first couple films. The prequel trilogy was when Marshall Lucas was not involved, and that's where the dialogue just completely goes off the rails in the prequels. So like there's even that element of like he had Marcia in the 70s and 80s to help him punch up a lot of like the Leia or like the Leia Han Solo like dialogue, because I mean the prequels are just it's like
Dialogue.
robotic. It's terrible,
Yeah.
but that's no
But it
Marcia.
doesn't change that we love the story, right? We still, even the prequels, horrible dialogue as it was, we still love the story, excited
I love
for
the
it, right?
sequel.
I think a lot of that
You need
newer
to stop,
generation at the
Sebastian.
time came into that trilogy enjoying it for what it was, and now those are the kids they're catering to today, in especially with what they did with Obi-Wan series. It was complete nostalgia, pulling from what these kids who grew up in the 90s saw, that love Ewan McGregor, loved Anakin, and brought that back, and that's what it played on to reopen back where they may want to go with this. And that's kind of where I think as far as the idea of the story and what it was, it grew so much that it's hard to stay on tack with certain storylines and certain things like that. There's a lot of convoluted things, which is why the legacy stuff kind of got booted out. Legends, excuse me. But I don't know. I'm not taking away from George Lucas. I love what he's done. And again, the idea of the story is what I love. However, the fact that it's growing and we're seeing more of different aspects of it, I enjoy.
Pong, you raised your hand.
I would like to take away from George Lucas. The third Indiana Jones movie was supposed to be set in a funhouse.
We're here to talk about Star Wars, Pong. Could you
I am aware of that, but if we're gonna bring the genius that is George Lucas,
It's like poetry. You see, it rhymes.
you know, if we're gonna talk about the genius that is George Lucas, we must never forget Indiana Jones 3 was supposed to be in a funhouse.
Hey, but didn't he want to have an alien sidekick for Indiana Jones 4 called Goobu?
You're not helping
What?
your case.
No,
You're not helping your case.
no, hey,
listen? It was a different time back then. Back then, it was okay to have an alien sidekick, and it was okay to be in fun
Not in
houses.
Indiana Jones. That would have messed it up entirely.
No, because then it will.
Archaeologist.
But then
I
it will.
think
Then it would start off that Indiana Jones was actually the great grandfather of Han Solo. And it all comes from there. It's all a plan from George Lucas from the beginning.
Was it really?
Oh,
No,
No,
I'm
no,
just
it's not.
just
He's
having
joking.
fun.
That's,
it's definitely
it's
not.
interesting though, because if you would have said, yeah, really, I would have to go to Wikipedia and look it up. I couldn't distinguish the insanity.
No,
of that.
because that's just
From
Lucas. That's just Lucas for you. I could have probably gotten away with it for like
Yes.
5 minutes.
Yeah, you absolutely could have, and that's why I say like I am definitely the odd man out on this one, but that's why I've said repeatedly on this show that I'm so glad that I never read the books, because everybody that put a lot of time into the books is always like so defensive of that, but it's
No,
it's
but
just a
I'm
different-
reading books of the series and I'm still enjoying this show. I'm not offended in any way.
Oh,
They
no,
don't
no, no,
tie
no.
in.
I didn't mean to put that on you. But in
meant to
You're
say-
telling
in
me,
general, a lot of the content
Yeah,
that
yeah,
we
I mean,
cover,
if it's
we've
comic books,
seen
yes,
or read
absolutely.
the source material versus
Yeah.
Pong, who just comes in it fresh.
I just
I
roll in to
understand.
see the movies, and
A
I'm like,
Pong who
"Oh, man,
barely
that's
reads
great."
anything. A Pong who barely reads anything.
Kinda, yeah.
Yeah.
You're not wrong. I mean, no, it's just growing up. It was kind of a thing where I just didn't have comics. I was, knee deep in bulletin boards and computer stuff, and so I never really messed around with comic books. But now I'm loving all the movies and stuff. I'm sorry, I cut you off. Go ahead.
Well, Pong,
That's why I like discussions like this, is because we have people like the Lenox who's not really into other than the the fairy tale, the fairy tale
Sure.
background. Then we got people like me and Val that's read all the books, seen all the shows, and are just gobbling everything up there when we see it. And then there's Pong. And then
Who
there's
just rolls
Pong.
in after everybody is all
Whatever.
established.
And it's Pong.
Well,
Yeah.
hey, real quick to Pong's point, like George Lucas, I think was very lucky with that original group of people in the 70s because I think, again, left to his own devices, he's part of a winning team. He needed Marsha. He needed the special effect. Like he needed a lot of people to make it work. So to clarify my comments, it isn't like George Lucas. He had a lot of help. Like I said, the dialogue comment from V is like Marsha fixed a lot of stuff for him. I don't know if you'd have Star Wars as you have it today without
Right.
Marsha.
Oh, he's
cleaning that stuff up.
He's admitted that in like in a lot of interviews as well, that he knows that he wouldn't have gotten anywhere without the team behind him.
Yeah.
Yeah, which shows you it's like it was even though George gets the huge credit for it, like the idea everyone helped them fleshed it out, and to this day it's like I don't know, it's like you look at like a lot of the Tolkien stuff, you look at a lot of the different stuff that's coming on, like with the comics and everything, like multiple people have fleshed out these stories over the years, like. And like I said, for me, it's like I'm not saying Andor is a bad show. It's just for me just had to separate that Star Wars name and just see it because I think like without the Star Wars name, it would still stand as a great sci-fi show because it's still establishing a lot of great lore in the beginning.
Is it really sci-fi without the Star Wars name though?
It's the whole concept that the show has this sci-fi feel for it. Like I love the sceneries that they created. I love everything that's been done.
I would argue it has sci-fi elements to it, and it takes place in space. But Andor, if you took the same script and put it into a Western, or if you took the same script and put it into a fantasy setting, it still works.
It can still work. Yeah.
Well, that's the beauty with all of Star Wars, isn't it? Really, like. Like that's how George Lucas based his stories to begin with. That you could put them in samurai stories, you could put them in westerns, and it would be the same story, and people would watch it. But here's to your point, Sebastian. I understand the idea of starting to watch Andor without putting the label Star Wars on it. But when you come around to like episode 4, 5, and 6. You're gonna get forced to accept that okay, this is a Star Wars, and that's also something we need to say that's brilliant writing by Andor. That okay, you don't want to call this Star Wars. Okay, let's go on. Let's take it on, and then episode 6, bam, you don't got a choice, bitch.
So I think probably one of the problems I have with the Disney era of Star Wars is this. I think there was never a plan, like any kind of cohesive plan. So many of these things seem to be like just completely disparate tones, kind of jammed together, where it's like, I think if they would have had a vision for where the story was gonna go, really, I think the stories that I would actually be interested in is like, where's it going after Return of the Jedi? And I think they really, they really did not do themselves any favor, bring. And I didn't see it, but it's like you brought
I feel their first beginning with that since the first Mandor really. But you're right. If they've done that from the start, it would have been much better. Maybe we'd had even great 3 episodes with what's her name?
The Catherine Kennedy, because those first three movies that was supposed to revitalize the series, and again, the first movie they played it safe. It was a rehash of what we all saw in A New Hope. That second movie is where they made the biggest mistake, which was letting the director do what he wanted to do, and it kind of threw all the story what they were going to do out the window. The third movie, they had this guy come back.
What was done.
Yeah, it was a lot of repair. Yeah, so that was trying to clean up. And then Han Solo, I think Solo should have been a show.
Solo was good.
Yeah.
It was good, but I think it should have been a show. It would have been more better than a show, but they were pushing for movie theater release. I think the concepts for shows for them started when they did Mando and how they saw how successful Mando was, because it actually, like I said, we made the joke in the beginning. Pedro Pascal was carrying the show on his back Tony was saying that for the longest. Like he's just carrying it like on his back the whole
Mhm.
Star Wars universe at the time. We were
The
excited
best
about
episode of Boba Fett was the one with
when
Mando.
Mando came
Yeah,
in.
exactly.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that was it. But as I Book of Boba, we got disappointed because like it should have been his rise as a crime boss, and we didn't really. It kind of like missed its marker in that in some ways because like the show was just there were some elements that were good to the show, but there were elements that just fell off. Obi-Wan, I mean, it's just like how you
Nostalgia.
said, it's nostalgia. That's all it was trying to play off of was nostalgia. We didn't need the whole angle with Princess Leia because it's like, for me, it kind of shatters that Sea of New Hope, which is like, my father told me about you. You helped him in the Clone Wars. So it's like, but it's like, it erases that because it's like, all right, you already know him. You met him. How did your father tell you about him if you've met him already? So that kind of like, that's the only little thing and tidbit I have with that. And we could have got more with the Inquisitors. I did like the Star Wars anthology that they did, where it was like they gave it to a bunch of anime studios, like Studio Trigger, to do their own little thing. It was like an anthology. It was pretty cool what they did with each one, which kind of gives like something outside of what we see normally with Star Wars, which is thinking outside the box. But that's just my feeling, Jason.
You know what? I forgot. There was one Star Wars thing that I saw a couple years ago, and I like watching it every now and then. There was somebody, and it was a fan-made 7-minute anime where there's just some Star Destroyers fighting some rebel ships, and it's told from the point of view of the Empire and the TIE fighter pilots, and there's not even really dialogue in it.
Oh, I know what you're talking about. I seen that. That is a beautiful. I gotta find the link
And-
for that and send this to you
Yeah,
guys.
and to me, like old school fairy tale fan, I enjoy watching that, and it has no dialogue or plot. It's almost like a toy set fighting, and I'm just kind of like, that's cool. Like to me, that's just the flavor that I enjoyed. Yeah, so maybe I just kind of like seeing just that imagery at this point. That was fun, and there was really nothing to it. No, there was no stakes. It was just a cool fight. It was,
Well, if you like that, have you watched the Clone Wars animated series?
Yeah, okay, so it's funny. So I was talking to a friend about coming on this show, and I was like, I got to watch Andor this week, and he was saying something about Clone Wars, and he goes, "Do you like that?" And I said, "The Clone Wars that I got into was the probably not Jerry Tenedovsky. He did that micro series for Cartoon Network in like 2003.
Yeah,
That was good too, though.
Yeah,
it was good, but it's not that one.
Yeah, no, I know the one you're talking about, and I watched a handful of episodes of the one you're talking about, and I thought it was okay, but I didn't really get into it. I think when the Jedi thing was coming out, I was watching like because it was like 1-minute episodes. I was watching that, and then I got
the 3D animation one has a slow start too in the beginning because I think it was like at the time it was on Cartoon Network.
Yes.
And then it wasn't until they started doing like really like, okay, we can actually build even more story with this because like it
takes a few episodes before they're like, okay, now you have to keep watching the episodes to understand what's actually gonna go on in the future. Yeah. And I think for those people that saw that, like the animated series also had an easier time to follow along with Andor and be patient with Andor because they knew that we already knew that okay, this could easily be going those same places.
Yeah, Rebels was good too.
Rebels was an awesome show. I mean,
absolutely,
it was so good, and in it where it takes place and how it leads to what happens in episode 3, and it just really works the way it should. I mean, I think that it adds to the bigger story. I mean, as far as with the Star Wars world, it should be. I don't know. I just think that this it doesn't drop the ball. I don't think it's too slow. I think it builds on.
Rebels, I loved. That. I mean, so can we go into a little more details with Andor because now it's just been overall talk like. all the freaking, all the freaking Easter eggs, like, oh my god,
for it, Rick.
The fangasms from episode 4 to beyond. We're talking about Grand Admiral Thrawn being talked about. We're talking about the Death Star being built. We're talking about Colonel Yularen from the old shows. We're talking about the freaking Jedi and Sith objects shown in in the pawn shop, and
Mhm.
the Naboo crown, and of course, freaking Star Killer, right? So
Yeah, no,
there's so much. Mwah.
Yeah, if you don't
he
think
gets
you feel
excited. I love
there
that.
you go.
No, there's a lot, especially when now you're starting to piece in what's really going on in the bigger universe.
Yeah.
And then that stuff that with Mon Mothma, when they're talking about what's this guy what's the guy who recruits Andor? What's his name?
Lucen.
Lucen?
Yeah, Lucen. He's played by
Luthen, yes.
Lucen
Yes.
Rail. Yep.
I think I mean, this is the first time I'm seeing this character, so I'm pretty sure he probably won't get out of this alive. But with that said, the way he kind of like, it's the need of what's really going on, and he pieces together that larger world that we know that happens in Coruscant to what's happening underneath, and I think they do it very well. They do it very, very well.
They do it. I think they do it extremely well. What I love even more, as you mentioned, what I love even more is what you kind of quickly mentioned is the show isn't as thick with plot armor as Mando, as Boba Fett, and Kenobi.
Oh, Kenobi has them all over.
Yeah, Kenobi was one big plot armor, but you don't have that in Andor. You got like two people you know that won't die, but the rest is just okay. Let's the Empire eat you up. Do it whatever you want.
I do want to add.
Hasn't even gotten his scar yet.
Oh no.
No, you noticed that, did you?
I do want to add one thing, that it is great time to be a Star Wars fan, because it could be worse. We could have another Star Wars Christmas special.
Oh, shut up.
Shut up.
No, shut up. Can I leave?
So,
you know what, I thought that we were going to get
how do you leave?
In episode, what's the episode that he gets sent to Narcana? It's episode 8. I was excited to see the droid when he takes Andor.
Yeah.
I thought we were going to get Kay. I'm like, oh my god, this is where he meets Kay! Yay! And I'm excited for it, and I'm like, oh no, it's not actually.
And you're just waiting as you see him get choked out and get stuck and die. Come on, Kay! Turn around. Nope.
Right, once you see the other droid behind him, I was like, oh, that's not him.
Yeah.
That's not him. Yep.
Yeah,
he's dying. He's dead.
So just to give you context, so the two droids come into the scene, and one of them actually yanks someone, like he just totally yokes him, Jason. Like you just see this guy, like, oh shit. It's the beginning of the police state that the Empire starts to create, and it's like, oh, this is messed up.
Yeah.
And
how that's done to show how the Empire really is. It's like perfect. That prison, and they show, okay, they decided to be done with the whole like department of the prison. They were done with their work. What do? They just sacked them off like it's nothing.
Because they realized that someone was supposed to be freed, and they recycled him somewhere else, and then they found out. So to cover themselves up, they killed them all.
Yeah, because people doesn't matter.
Jason.
Okay, so this is a cynical question I have about The Force Awakens, because one of the things that, again, I always wondered about what happened after Jedi is like, okay, so they blow up the Death Star and they wipe out a big chunk of their military, and then they're just kind of like, yeah, the rebels are the rebels, and now there's a new empire. Why couldn't they put this much effort into explaining how the First Order just basically did the same thing? And I know there's probably a book or something, but I'm like, they're putting all this effort into the Empire, but I'm like,
there's not just one book. There's not just one book.
I mean,
there's a lot of books.
So Admiral Thrawn, after the fall of the Empire, Admiral Thrawn tries to maintain control. In the books, that goes one way, but in Rebels, it goes a different way, and we're probably going to see that in the Ahsoka series, which I'm excited for, because we did get Ezra casted. But in the books, we see that just because the Emperor dies, the Empire doesn't. And they still try to fight for control. There's still a war going on. It doesn't get completely absolved just because they took out the Emperor. And that goes on for years, up until territories start to take over, see certain planets defect to the Republic. It's years over time. And then at the same time, Luke trying to build up on the Jedis and re-establish an order that he knows nothing about. Go ahead. Go ahead. Yeah, I'm sorry. I'm throwing
Well,
people
here,
off.
dude, just super fast.
Go ahead, Mighty
I wanted
Kwong.
to,
I'll
wanted
go
to throw
next.
this in here real quick. On the on what you were talking about just a second ago, it kind of points to the illusion of control, and we touched on this a little bit ago with the prison stuff, right? Because you're saying that, you know, once the emperor's died, the empire moves on. That's because what they've put in place is a system, right? And so that's what they were saying in the prison. They don't care what's going on here. No one's listening. The name of the episode. No one's listening. All they have to do is turn the floor on twice a day, and that's it. And then we all stay in line and we do what we're supposed to do, right? And that's the system. That is a small representation of the bigger system that's at play in the empire.
Right.
And then you find out in the last episode that, hey, okay, this system is flawed, and then Mr. Gollum Man decides to, okay, let's get out of here.
Gollum.
Go ahead, Jason. Jump in. You had a question.
And I'm sure Rick has read it. V, you may have read it, but when I mentioned that 90s Dark Horse comic, Dark Empire, they did a really good take on like the broken world after the Empire. And I think, again, I'm trying to like do a little self-analysis for myself here, is maybe one of the reasons that I'm not as interested in all the minutia is because of where the story goes. To me, doesn't make any sense. So I start to lose interest in the journey. So like on another random note, and if you really want to get me going, I'm a huge Breaking Bad, Better Call Saul fan, right? So I was really digging the last season.
Oh, yes.
And I loved the final season up until the final 20 minutes. And then for like a lot of reasons, I was like, this ending to me personally with Saul Goodman made no sense. And now
I'm still watching Saul Goodman,
okay,
so
well,
please no spoilers on that one.
I didn't think it made any sense. So no spoilers. I didn't like it, and now I'm finding that I have no interest in rewatching it because I'm just kind of. A lot of people liked it, right? So you know, I'm not going to tell you can't like it. If you like it, you like it. Me personally, for a lot of reasons, I was like, wait, I didn't like this last part. Now I find that I'm not interested in rewatching it. So to me, the fact that they weren't able to realize a more plausible future for Star Wars that at least made sense. Maybe that's why I don't care as much about how we like the minutia. So it's kind of maybe hurt my interest because I'm like, where's it going?
I think it's those first set of movies that kind of messed up for some people because of how, again, you had the safe movie, then you had the train wreck, and then you had the one that had to back clean up. And Mando, for me, does a perfect job painting at least a little bit of this future. But wherever you put the story for Andor, it probably would have even done better, like to explain the rise of a newer empire building up in, because it is a great story. Like I said, I had to separate the Star Wars name in the beginning for me. And like Rick mentioned, episode 4 and 6, and Vmac mentioned, it does again showcase the empire. But I really love those prison scenes. Those prison scenes that they created, that whole prison, like Tom, you definitely hit it. Like it showcases a system. And it's still like, and that by the end of that 9th episode, you see that flawed system that is there. And I missed a lot of the Easter egg, Rick. Thank you for pointing those out. But it's a good episode for me.
I also think you start seeing that actually in episode 8, where the ISP is getting shown to go out and investigate, like with the interrogation and the way they talk to the prisoners. They don't give a flying fuck about whether they're humans or sheep. They just
that showcases their evil. That shows
the empire is evil.
Yeah, it also showcases, like, again, that police state. Like, what are we going to do to hold our power? And it's like all these things that are going.
Stole their money. You push their hand. What you think they're gonna do?
I actually got a theory about the money, but
sorry. Go ahead.
I'm the guest, Pong. Okay, me first. No. Go
ahead.
No, you're in here for tone.
That's true. Go ahead.
No. Joking aside, my theory right now is that they went to steal those chips, those incomes, solely to get the rebellion started and to shake the empire.
Which that's what it did.
It's gonna give, and those chips are gonna come to Saw Gerrera and other rebellions that will bring them together.
Well, Saw Gerrera stays out of it.
Yeah.
According to Rogue One, he maintains a separate affiliation. He'll do standard stuff, but he doesn't join the overall group. It was interesting to see him tie in, though. I liked them
I love the tie-in.
cameoing him. Yeah, I
But-
thought they did that well.
If you are following some of the books and also Rebels, yeah, sure, he's a separatist, but he's still tied in with the rebellion, and the rebellion leaders still accept him as a part of them, even though he's So they
don't
still
follow his specific, because he has different standards that he runs by, and you know. But I think that the way they tied him in and bringing the movie recalled back into there, so I think that was done well, and at least they had the same actor, so that's good.
So how many episodes are we away?
We should get 3 more, I think.
Yeah,
3
for
more
this year. And
episodes.
season 2 is already been in the making as well, or at least done already.
it.
So it shows that they have trust in this show for sure.
Yeah.
We'll be covering the show again on the 29th. So we have some good episodes coming up. So next week we're gonna have Keith Gleason on the show. He's from the Indie Comics Relay. We're gonna be talking Black Panther and Black Adam next week. The week after that, we're going to have our Thanksgiving episode, family fun movies, and then on the 29th we'll revisit. So Rick, Jason, you guys are more than welcome. Come back to talk about the show. Give us your final thoughts.
On the 29th? Is that my
yeah.
homework? I have to get up.
That's your homework.
If you want to, you don't have
I do.
to.
No. See, now I feel
You
like
don't have to, but if you want to stay friends.
I know.
Oh, God.
My friend. No, I don't know.
What we'll do is that Rick will find a bunch of pictures like he did for me in the background, do a whole little collage. Actually, just do a collage of Lord of the Cosmos, because by then
No. All of my collages will be on you only, Sebastian. Okay? Because I know how much you love them. Look at this. Look at them.
Pretty good.
I want you to do a collage that is every collage or like Photoshop that you've done of Seabass every time you've come on the show. So you have to like just keep adding to it and adding to it and adding to it.
Okay. Yeah.
You know what?
Wait,
what if we had a
how many times have
collage
you done that?
This is my second time. Yeah, the last time was just a simple one where with all his drinking pictures where I put him on a beach.
It was
Got
great.
it.
It was great.
Okay.
So what you? Yep, drinking. I don't know. I don't know if you want me streaking, Jason.
Oh no, I got those in another folder, but those are for me.
I just watched the Rick and Morty the other day where he has the car battery where there's the people in the battery that have a battery and all that stuff. And I was like, what if Rick made a collage of the collages and it just kept getting deeper? Right?
Yeah, I think that was the plan. You remember those 3D Star Wars posters which was smaller pictures? That's what it's gonna end up like with Sebastian.
I'm here for
It'll
it.
be Sebastian's face made of pictures of Sebastian.
Yeah.
Inception. Sebastian. There we go. Oh, just to let everyone know who's still on with us right now, our season finale episode is December 13th, so we'll be doing the nerd season finale. We'll have fun with that one. So yeah, definitely, guys. We're gonna plug in again. Jason has a new Kickstarter that's out. Go in the description. Lord of the Cosmos is launching.
Yeah, it's the pre-launch link. So obviously that's a feature in the last year and a half, 2 years to become bigger on Kickstarter to have a big first day. So if you get signed up, you get a notification that it went live, and it's like, please back it on day one. So right now it's just collecting pre-launch links. So every time I get a multiple of 25, I'm going to put out a couple new pages of artwork. So before the show is at 98. So if I get 2 more people, I'm going to put more artwork out you can stare at. So, check it out.
2 more people. Okay.
2 more. That's it. Rick, so you should, you missed the satanic color.
If you watch Andor, maybe we can talk a deal.
See, look at this guy. I like it. He's a capitalist. Okay. For you, Rick, I'm going to watch more Andor. I will go Medusa for you.
Okay. We'll see then.
Oh man, this will be fun.
By the way, Pong, when is your hot tub stream?
Well, you know what? It's funny that you mentioned that because I don't have a hot tub, but I do have robotic combat that is going to be happening in a tank of water right here in Las Vegas. And the link to that is in the chat if you're on YouTube. And you can catch the making of that rig, or you can even watch that event streamed live on the Sin Shop live stream, which you can see right there, twitch.tv/Sin Shop. How'd that thing get there? I don't know.
I swear,
Right.
I wasn't even setting him up. I swear.
know, that's
I wasn't even setting him up. It wasn't even a plan.
I know. If you know the only thing that we're missing with that is if only people knew where they could get Sin Shop merch. Of course, that's sinshoplivestream.com. There you can get merch that is
I
involved that
apologize.
builds off of that. You
I
didn't Kickstarter
apologize.
for a half hour. Come on. Okay.
Yeah, no. I just wanted hot tub stream.
We're all gonna
you're
evade.
need to eat some chili and get in the bathtub because I got nothing for you.
We're all gonna have to evade the Sin Shop one day. That's it. Just cause
There you
chaos
go.
at the Sin Shop. This has been a fun up. Again, Jason, Rick, we want to thank you guys for being on Pong. We want to thank you for filling in for Tone.
bet.
It's been another great episode. This has been your boy Sebastian.
Hey, you're muted.
I know, it's always because I'm muted every time. It's your boy Law.
And I am, of course, the Mighty Pong.
And
Wait,
of course, last but not least, Vmac. Join us next week, guys. We're talking Black Panther as well as Black Adam. See you guys next week.
Next
easy, guys.
week. Woo! Buenos noches.